Well, I do want to talk some more about Shine, 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 but first let's go back to the album you released in 2000, which was called Like So. Though there's plenty of guitar playing on it, that one seemed to be more of a showcase for the singer-songwriter aspect of your talent. Some of the songs remind me of artists like John Hyatt, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, among others. One of my favorite tracks on it lyrically is Sunday, which is sort of philosophical in nature. And then there's a song called Like Your Sister, which I like musically because it's got a really swampy pocket.
Right.
And then the one I wanted to play is called Beautiful Girl, which I believe you wrote for your daughter. So was that meant as a direct response to John Lennon's Beautiful Boy?
Yeah, it sort of has a maybe a dual or triple inspiration. It was certainly my daughter. It's a lullaby, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely it was, there's a sort of a Beatley element to the sound, although I'm not sure it's all that much John. It feels a little more Paul musically to me. But the title is absolutely a sort of, I mean, I had a girl instead of a boy, and I only have the one child, so
it was begging for a response.
I thought she deserved one too.
Sure. Yeah, well, I have two sons, so, Beautiful Boy. I don't even need to write a song. I could just sing his.
Yeah, that's right. But I needed one for her, so.
Yeah, there's a variety of different types of songs on that album, and that's, more ballady, but,
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's also a little more stripped down compared to Shine, Shine, Shine. I think maybe a little less, like, broadly produced or something. And yet I still, it really brings back that time for me. And we had done a lot of writing in the maybe 10 years before that was actually recorded. So we were able to pick from a lot of songs. It was kind of a luxury in a way that we had written over the last, like I said, decade or so. And I did write about 4 or 5 new ones for that record too, because I wanted it to have a character that kind of held it together, that I didn't think was going to be there without some new songs. But but yeah, I mean the people you mentioned, that's vaunted company, of course, and but those are all people that I was really interested in, and whose music I loved, and so it isn't a surprise if some of those influences show to me.
Yeah. Well, I like the album. I like the fact that your albums are a bit different from each other. And, of course, there's a 10-year gap between Like So and Shine, 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 which I'm sure, you got hooked up with Steely Dan the same year you put Like So out, so I'm sure you had other things drawing you away. But there's only been a 2-year gap since your last solo album, and I'm hoping that you maybe can continue that trend.
Yeah, I'm going to try. We've been writing songs, and I've got we got almost half a record already written. So we're mostly it's a budget issue. I guess.
Of course, for all of us.
Got to make sure I have the, and also I have to decide that I'm ready to dive into that that technical place. With the right budget, I mean, if I could find the money, I could hire people to take care of a lot of that aspect of it, which would that'd be my dream actually for this next one, rather than have to sort of try to do as much of it myself as I can in order to.
Let me make a suggestion. I think that you and several other New York City indie artists should go to a studio, and you should all put your hand on the mixing board, and whoever can keep their hand on it longest gets a free album.
That's a good idea.
Okay, well, let's scroll back to 2000 and listen to Beautiful Girl.
Sweet Evangeline, don't you cry. Wipe the little tear from your eye. Come with me, we could be riding rainbows in the sky, round and round, upward bound, on a wish we'll fly. Hold on, baby, hold on, tremble in your lips lets me know soon it will be time for us to go. Side by side for a slide down moonbeams through the Milky Way. Soon we'll skate past the gate where the angels play. Hold on, baby, hold on. Things are gonna turn out fine. Beautiful girl of mine. Close your eyes till sunrise wakes you with the morning light. Have no fear, I'm right here. Our dreams will make it right. Hold on, baby, hold on. Things are gonna turn out fine. Beautiful girl of mine. Hold on, baby, hold on. Things are gonna turn out fine. Beautiful girl of mine.
We've got a track on Shine, Shine, Shine that pays even more direct homage to the Beatles in their mid-60s psychedelic mode. I know there was a particular incident that inspired that song lyrically, so do you want to recall that story for us?
You must be talking about Fabulous.
It must be.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, well, there sort of is. It was a small little thing, but it was enough to trigger a title, and the songwriting wheels started turning. I was working on a Bette Midler tour with a fabulous guitarist. No pun intended. He really is a fabulous guitarist. Named Mike Miller, L.A. guy, and we were at some sort of Cirque du Soleil show somewhere, and we enjoyed the show very much. But the band, Mike had a comment after the show. He said something about the band, and he says it was pretty good, but guitar player was a little fabulous, don't you think? And it was, it was. I guess the sort of the whole style was sort of like a little too Vegas-y for Mike's taste or something, and he knew I would share his taste, and so.
And was he talking about the guitar player's attire or just his stage attitude?
Yeah, probably attire, maybe something to do with
the whole package.
Whether it was the playing, but it was really the whole sort of vibe of the musical part of the show. I think
right.
that struck us that way, but somehow it got me thinking. Well, I think that might be a song title, Mr. Fabulous, and because it's a funny word, and it really turned into something quite different. It turned into sort of a song about celebrity worship, really, and sort of my take on that. But it really is also, and mostly, I guess, for me, the fun of it was because it has such an obvious, like as you say, homage. It is such an obvious homage to the Beatles in that psychedelic era, that it just became, just a lot of fun.
Well, style over substance, is always a good topic. and when you talk about a fabulous Vegas entertainer of any time, a lot of people pop into our minds automatically. It's that,
Right.
cheesy sort of, visual oriented, and not a lot of substance happening there.
We had fun with that, and somehow that treatment seemed to work with the lyric for me. So.
Well, let's not let the listeners wait any longer. Let's check out.
Oh, okay.
It's not called Mr. Fabulous, but
It's called Fabulous.
it's called
yeah.
Fabulous. So let's listen.
Say hello and shake his hand. Bask in the glow and understand fabulous. Fabulous. He's got the hair, he's got the look. His savoir-faire will get you hooked on fabulous. Fabulous. Mr. Fabulous has come to stay, so make him feel at home. Mr. Fabulous will win the day, but how strange, he has nothing to say. Did you catch his glance, or did he look right through? Did you miss your chance, or are you going to be fabulous? Fabulous. He's so debonair and nonchalant. It's just not fair. All you want is to be fabulous. Fabulous. Mr. Fabulous has come to stay, so make him feel at home. Mr. Fabulous will win the day, but how strange, he has nothing to say. He stands so tall, he's so genteel, makes you feel so small when all you want is to feel fabulous. Fabulous. Mr. Fabulous has come to stay, so make him feel at home. Mr. Fabulous will win the day, but how strange, he has nothing to say. Yes, how strange, he has nothing to say.
So how long do you think Mr. Fabulous would have lasted at a Steely Dan session? I mean, that could be measured in milliseconds, right?
Could be.
It's like, get that guy out of here. Well, let me go back even further and ask you, is it true that you once gave a performance at which you and the band became so absorbed in your music that you failed to notice that the club you were playing in had caught on fire?
Yeah, it wasn't quite caught on fire, but it was close. It was... the only place I've lived that's been outside the New York area was Indianapolis, Indiana, for about 3 years, and in the '80s. And I got out there and didn't have any work, but quickly met some very welcoming local musicians who were really good players. And my first gig was in a little jazz gig in a rib joint, and it was one of those rib joints where, they had a big, like the smoke, the hickory smoke thing in the back, and it was, pretty greasy, like plastic, Formica tables and like orange colored chairs, like molded plastic chairs. You know the deal.
Yep.
But great ribs, and like. Yeah. But they had hired the night I was playing. We were in serious like deep jazz mode, and we're like playing chorus after chorus on rhythm changes or something, and everybody's really engrossed, And so it turns out the audience was starting to get up and leave sort of one by one, because the place was sort of the room was sort of slowly filling with smoke from the kitchen door, but we were like like musicians on the Titanic or something. We just, we just kept playing to entertain them as the ship sank, But, I think finally we had to get up and stop. But it all turned out that somebody was like a new employee that night. And when you're done with the day's cooking, which is, we were playing late, when you're done with the day's cooking, you're supposed to just let the fire just go out naturally. I don't think you're supposed to douse it with water, but somebody had thrown like a pitcher of water on the fire or something, and like so, I guess I don't know much about rib cooking, but there's definitely something about the smoke is what makes it taste like that. But you're not supposed to do whatever this guy did, because all of a sudden it was nothing but smoke, and everybody was smoked out.
Yes.
And I remember coming home and just dropping my instrument, and the next morning I remember opening my guitar case and re-experiencing the night before, because it was like completely infused with hickory smoke.
When you were on stage, did you smell the smoke first or see the smoke first?
I'm not sure I can remember. I was probably looking at my guitar neck, which is probably why my neck is still sore. But I don't think I would have noticed the smell so much, because that was the smell of the place to begin with.
Smoky, yeah. Right.
After all, but I think we probably started having trouble breathing, and we ultimately had to stop.
That's a good analogy. The Titanic is a good analogy. It's just so funny because Mr. Fabulous, he's always looking up at the audience, and he'd have seen the smoke immediately. But if you're deeply engrossed in all the things you are, some a jazz standard or something, you would tend to not notice. So it's just a funny image, yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
Well, I'm going to play a song of yours right now that I firmly believe literally every band in America and beyond should consider covering, simply because it's in their own self-interest too. This one's about soliciting donations from the audience, which most of us either never do or just do briefly between songs. So what gave you the idea to actually do a song about that? And furthermore, why was it done in the style of James Brown?
Well, I can tell you, we had been working. We were trying to get the band working again, and it was before I had hired my assistant Susan Johnson, who's been booking us. And we've gotten, as we've done this for the last couple of years, our bookings have gotten better and better. So we're making more money, and we're not passing the hat anymore. But in the very beginning, we just wanted to get out and play, and there were a couple clubs we were playing where they had no money for the band, but they would offer to pass the bucket or the hat around for you, and ask for people to contribute. And so I don't know, I think we had done a few of those gigs, and it felt awkward asking I didn't know what to say to the crowd when I was like about to like sort of start the hat going around or the bucket going around. So it was basically just like, necessity was the mother of invention in that case, because I just wanted a better way to sort of accompany the passing of the bucket or the hat, and so we came up with a tune. And the reason I guess I thought of the James Brown feel was because my plan was to play the thing, and this is what we did live. I would play it kind of at a slow tempo, and so people could hear the lyrics really well, and then we'd finish it. It was a pretty short song. We'd play it through a couple times, and then I'd say to Dennis or somebody, "Hey, Dennis, like, what does it look like? Is that bucket full now?" And if it, whether it was or not, we would just say, "Oh, I don't know, I don't think so." And so then we'd play the same tune again, but faster this time,
Mm-hmm.
And we'd play another chorus or something, and then get to the end. We'd look again, we'd make some shtick out of it, and eventually, like, we're playing it like almost impossibly fast. Play it 3 times or something.
Faster and
so
faster.
it just kind of made it easier to sort of deal with that whole aspect of it, which never has been easy.
Ordinarily, I don't encourage musicians to steal things, but I think everybody should steal this idea just out of my love for starving musicians. Should definitely
it was a
adopt
fun
this.
one. I mean, unfortunately, we don't play it like on our gigs now because we're not passing the hat anymore. But I'm glad we recorded it because it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's not only is it hilarious and something we can all relate to as bar and club musicians and rib joint kind of guys, but it's also a great groove. So let's listen to that.
Fun. All right.
From 2012 Time on My Hands CD, here's JHB with the Bucket Song.
Throw that Jackson down. The JHB's in town.